Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing the CSEC English A, May-June 2017, paper 1. But if you're visiting the channel for the first time, make sure, just pause, hit that subscribe button and turn on your post notification bell. Yes, thank you so much. So, let us get right into this. We'll be doing this in a two-part video. Part 1, we'll be looking at the discrete items, questions 1 to 25. And then the next video will be looking at the reading comprehension. So, let us get right into it. So, question 1 or items 1 to 5. The instruction says, each sentence in this section has one underlined word or phrase. Choose from the 4 suggested answers the word or phrase which is closest to, opposite in meaning to the underlined word or phrase. So the first 5 questions we'll be looking at our antonyms or our opposites. So let's look at question 1. It says, we found her appreciative of the help that we had given her on this matter. Is it A, unhappy about, B, displeased at, C, ungrateful for, or D, intolerant of? Now, this is another repeat question. So we know appreciative of means that you're grateful for. So the opposite of that would be C, ungrateful for. So the answer is C. Let's go on to number 2. While the employers approved of his work habits, they objected to his radical views. Is it A, capitalist, B, informed, C, fashionable, D, conservative? We know radical, they are extremists. So the opposite would be D, conservative. This is another one that has been repeated. Number 3. At the sound of the bell, the lower forms went reluctantly back to their classrooms. A, willingly, B, hurriedly, C, anxiously, or D, punctually. We know reluctantly means that the person is unwilling. So the opposite of that would be A, willingly. Let's go on to number 4. The guest speaker's address was devoid of humor, and this made persons uneasy. Is it A, full of, B, indicative of, C, controlled by, or D, presented with? We know devoid of means that it is lacking or free from. So his delivery was free from. So if it is free from or lacking, it means that the opposite would be A, full of. So 5 says, as a result of the available evidence, the accused was apprehended and no further action was taken. Is it A, evicted, B, released, C, cautioned, or D, summoned? We know the policeman apprehended the man means that he arrested the man. So the opposite of being arrested would be released. So B would be our answer. Let's go on to number 6. Items 6 to 10, the instruction says, each sentence has either 1 or 2 words missing. Choose from the 4 options the word or pair of words which best completes the meaning of the sentence. Now in this section, quite a bit of them has been repeated from previous past papers. So we'll just go ahead and select the answers. Question 6 says, despite his being somewhat short-tempered, his willingness to give of his wealth to help others to succeed led people to call him C, benevolent. Let's go on to 7. When parents display A for one child, the others are likely to feel. So when parents display D, a preference for one child, the others are likely to feel jealous. 8. An attack on someone when that person is most vulnerable may be dash, but it is always. The answer is D. An attack on someone when that person is most vulnerable may be effective, but is always unkind. 9. While the committee members dash insults across the floor, the chairman tried in vain to dash order. So we know the answer is A. While the committee members hurled insults across the floor, the chairman tried in vain to restore order. 10. Are you trying to dash that all along he knew of the plot to oust the committee? So we know is insinuate. D would be our answer. Let's go on to number 11. So items 11 to 15, the instruction says, each sentence in this section is followed by 4 sentences, A, B, C, and D. Choose the sentence nearest in meaning to the original sentence. 11 says, quite a bit of these questions too are repeated, so we'll be just selecting the answer. Mary still wanted to marry John even though he had lost all his money. So if you look in the previous videos in the May, June 2020, the January 2019, 17, the May, June 2018, quite a bit of these questions have been repeated. So you can go ahead and watch those videos. There's a link in the description below, or there's a card somewhere on this video if you have not watched those videos as yet. So 11, our answer would be B. So Mary still wanted to marry John even though he had lost all his money. The sentence that is nearest in meaning, equivalent sentence, is the loss of all John's money did not affect Mary's wish to marry him. Let's move on to 12. No right-thinking person who has lived in the country will fail to understand my disgust at noise. The answer, C. My disgust at noise will be understood by any right-thinking person who has lived in the country. So that's the equivalent sentence. So we're not changing the meaning, ensuring that we're sticking to the original sentence, what was said. Let's move on to number 13. It says, the youth of the country need to organize themselves into cooperatives in order to support the Prime Minister's drive for self-sufficiency. We know our answer is C. The youth should show their support for the Prime Minister's plans for self-sufficiency by organizing themselves into cooperatives. C would be our answer. That's the sentence closest in meaning to the original one. 14 says, realizing that her suitcase was left on the bus, the woman desperately tried to attract the conductor's attention. Now, A, C, and D, all those are not in harmony with what the original sentence says. So B is our answer for 14. The woman became aware of, just as what realizing that, that's the same, the fact that she had no longer had her suitcase and did her best to catch the attention of the bus conductor. B. Let's go on to 15. The Europeans who were not well off were those who came to the West Indies in search of wealth. Our answer, D. Europeans who came to the West Indies to seek their fortunes were the ones who were not wealthy. D. Let's go on to number 16 to 20, item 16 to 20. The instruction says, some of the following sentences are unacceptable because of inappropriate grammar, idiom, or vocabulary. Some sentences are acceptable as they stand. No sentence contains more than one inappropriate element. Select the one underlined part that you feel is inappropriate and choose the corresponding letter, A, B, C. If the sentence is acceptable as it stands, choose D. 16 says, we could reach the survivors neither by boat or by plane, and so we abandoned our search as futile. Is there anything wrong? Is there any grammatical error in this? Absolutely. We know it is at B. We often use neither with nor. So instead of or, it should be nor. So our answer where the problem is at B. Move on to 17. I formed the brilliant idea of climbing the fence and to hang from the top of the rail until the bull went away. Is there anything grammatically wrong with this? Yes. If we notice the tense in which it is sentence is in. Notice it says, I formed the brilliant idea of climbing. That is correct. The fence and to hang. That is where the problem is at C. So if we're continuing in the present tense of climbing, the fence and it would be hanging from the top. So C would be hanging. Let's go on to number 18. She was not feeling well at the beginning of the journey, and sitting at the front of the car made her feel worse. Well, I don't see anything wrong with this sentence, so D would be our answer, no error. Let's move on to number 19. My ambition is to have a good job and to further my studies at one of the more prestigious universities. Is there anything wrong with this? Well, I don't see anything wrong with this one. So D would be our answer. Let's move on to 20. The better of the two athletes claim never to have used the dangerous drugs found in his possession. Is there any grammatical error in this? Yes. It says the better of the two athletes. No. We notice it is talking the better of the two. So it is referring to one person. So B, instead of having claim, it should be claims. So the sentence should be the better of the two athletes claims. So that's where the error is. So let's move on to, so we're going to stop here. We're going to stop right here for part 1. So we have completed the discrete items. So be sure to stay tuned for part 2. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and turn on your post notification bell. And give this video a like, give it a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching.